All right, what's popping, party people? Thank you for popping in on another episode of Pop Talk. This is your man, Professor Nils. I'm signing on with the Casual Rand,
What up, though?
Boston Jared. Don't forget the
Peace.
S, and Coach Dave.
Oh.
And we are the Pundits of Pugilism, and we want to make sure that you like and subscribe before we jump into our content for the night. But we are going to focus on the number one pound for pound fighter, almost a consensus at this point, and that is your man, Terrence Bud Crawford, who took on your boy Israel Madrimov, however you want to. I heard 4 different types of
pronunciations
of his name, but you know who we were referring to, who won a very close unanimous decision this weekend to claim his 4th title in 4 different weight divisions. He started off as a lightweight, went up to super lightweight, then to welterweight, and now at super welterweight. The scores I thought were pretty indicative of the fight. I think it was 115 to 113 scores across the board, and then 115 to 112. So essentially, 2 judges had it 7 rounds to 5, and 1 judge had it 8 rounds to 4. This was a kind of a high stakes chess match that wasn't necessarily kind of a high speed chess match, but there was enough kind of drama and tension in the air that it kind of kept you glued to the screen, because you were you could actually see Terrence Crawford kind of mentally trying to find ways to kind of break down Madrimov and find ways to get him to open up, because they're both natural counter punchers, trying to get him to open up. But then you also had Madrimov, who was showed a lot of good stamina, improved footwork, in my opinion, a lot of patience. I thought that he was somebody that did not open up too quickly, and then so it kept Terrence Crawford at bay. And this was something that I was a little bit surprised that Terrence Crawford acknowledged at the end of the bout, that I think that Madrimov's strength was something that surprised him a little bit. He kept on mentioning that. And then so this is a fighter who is trying to, campaign for a bout against Canelo Alvarez at 2 divisions.
Pull the plug on that
on
shit.
top of this.
Yeah, that ain't happening. It should never ever be even crossed people's minds. The weight classes exist in this sport for a reason. Yeah, no, it was always ridiculous to me. But sorry, go ahead, finish.
No, it did, and not only that, before the fight happened, if you were tuned in to the,
I know you're about to say,
on Turkey Al Sheikh,
Turkey was saying the money's out there, the offer's out there.
Like we sent an offer to Canelo Alvarez for a fight with Terrence Crawford, and if he's smart, he'll accept this offer. So let's go with the Casual Ram. So first, give us your impressions of. So do you think that Terrence Crawford won this fight? Because we do want to mention that 3 out of the 4.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say that. I knew he was going to bring that up.
3 out of the 4 pundits called for a stoppage or a KO or TKO.
I thought though, you know what I'm saying? Like, usually I went traditionally, if you've been following the show, I've always went against most of the time went against Crawford in fights. I went against him in the Earl Spence fight. I ain't gonna sit here and lie and try to sugarcoat it. So this is the one time I was like, yo, every time I go against him, I'm proved wrong. So I'm gonna say that his power would go up with him at 154. Yeah. This is the first time I can say that he hit Madrimov with good shots throughout the fight, but he wasn't getting the same results that he usually get with those smaller guys. So I say that to say that we just mentioned the Canelo fight. I think he's at the max where he can be effective at 154. And at 154, he's a good fighter. He's closer to pedestrian than a great fighter that he's traditionally been throughout his career.
Yeah. So do you compare it to somebody like a Floyd Mayweather, right? Because Floyd Mayweather went up to 150. I'm trying to think that he fought Oscar De La Hoya at 154 because he fought Canelo at 154, but they negotiated at a 152. But
it was a 152 cash weight. Yeah.
Yeah, but against Oscar though, it was full-fledged 154.
Yes.
And it was, if you kind of think about it, it was
but that's different though.
in this bout. Go ahead.
I wouldn't even say Mayweather because Mayweather walked around at around 150. You know what I'm saying? His natural weight was always smaller. I would say Bud walks around a little heavier than 154.
Yeah, he definitely had to lose weight for this bout out there. But I mean, if I'm being honest and I'm looking at breaking down, he's looking to fight Canelo Alvarez. Mayweather was a lot more kind of dominant and just the kind of mental warfare. But this was
much better fighter.
Younger Canelo. What's that?
Much better fighter. Much better fighter.
Floyd,
much
better than Terrence.
Floyd is not several levels above, but he's a better fighter than Terrence Crawford.
Oh, speak on it.
No, look, I've talked about this before. I sound like a broken record here. I don't know. He just don't take his head offline. He don't slip and bob and weave on punches. He don't get up under punches. He likes to step back. He likes to keep that high guard and catch and block stuff. And that shit, when you start moving up in weight, it's gonna catch up with you. You cannot continue if you cannot make guys miss, eventually it's going to catch up with you the more you progress in weight. Now, I will say this. Crawford, if I'm a Crawford, one of these Crawford extremists, I'm very, very encouraged by what I saw from Crawford. I thought he took the punches from Madrimov very, very well. I thought he looked fast at the weight. He didn't look sluggish at all. I thought he looked strong at the weight. He looked very, very sharp at the weight. But that defense of his, man, they got work to do. I don't know if he's at the point in his career where you can make them changes. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know. But Floyd Mayweather does not have the same issues with Israel Madrimov that Terrence Crawford had. Floyd could go from being a counterpuncher to a back foot fighter to a front foot fighter. Floyd was a better fighter. Floyd was a better fighter.
Yeah, I mean,
mostly because of his defense.
Yeah, so one thing I would say is that I think that with Terrence Crawford, who is a switch hitter, is that he fought this almost the entire fight in
southpaw.
In the southpaw. And I think that while that is that's his kind of more like power hitting stance, I think that he lacks defensively when it comes in that sense. I think that he actually would have been a little bit better with his defense in the orthodox stance. And then for one is that Madrimov's best punch was a straight right hand and whatnot. And if you're fighting against a southpaw, I mean, that's just like right down. And I was a little surprised that Bud didn't give him a few more different looks in that sense. But let's take it to Coach or whatnot, because you actually thought that the kind of Crawford decision was a little bit wider than kind of most people. You thought it was a really clear decision. You didn't necessarily think it was that close of a fight.
Yeah, well, right. So a couple of things too, and listening to everything you guys were saying. And we have to check the scorecard if somebody can pull it up, because I thought one judge had it 116, 112. I think that's right.
It should have been 116, 112. 2 115 113.
Okay, you had said a 115 112. That's I
misspoke. Right, so y'all seen my scores. The way I scored it, and I sent them, round one, round blah 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 blah. Mine was more in line with the 116 112. All right,
that's how I scored it.
Right. So I mean, and you don't know what the judges are seeing, but bottom line, like one of them judges was talking about, Crawford need to throw more jabs and land more jabs. He was popping this dude with the jab all night. You saw the guy's face even at the end of it, right? So here's the thing. First of all, to your point, the guy had one fight at 154, and everybody want to write him off and stuff like that. So you want to call me a Crawford diehard fan? Go ahead on and call me a Crawford diehard.
Nobody was saying that, Dave.
Let me finish. You say you want to write him off in terms of going up to 168. So
yes.
Right. So let me finish my point. So now let me go ahead on and caveat that by saying you can tell even Crawford might have been thinking about that once to the professor's point. He said, "Hey, that joker was strong as hell." So he got that. I personally think that Crawford, I think, gave the guy a little bit too much respect, to be honest with you, and rightly so. Maybe he should have. But when towards the later end of the fight, when Crawford was sitting down on his punches and throwing them, he was touching those guys. I'm not looking for him to have no solid one punch knockout at 135. You fighting somebody 154 who probably came down for 165. It's a bigger fight, so you're gonna have to compound your punches, a little bit more. The worst thing that I said that I think that they did that they should have changed was what Cam said, bro. Let's try him orthodox a little bit to see if we can get away from that right hand and to see if we can still deal with power. But it's no doubt about it in my mind when Crawford sat down, fought, and dug that. Even in the last round, even more so when he tried to fight, he was touching this guy up, man. Double uppercut, the body shots, but it was not frequent and fluent throughout the whole fight. It just wasn't. And Crawford might have been getting his bearings at that weight. Now, to your point about why I'm saying you can't count this cat out about jumping up the weight, we all know the history of somebody who totally threw away the myth of you don't lift no weights and do none of this stuff about boxing. Man, Holyfield went from 175 all the way up to heavyweight. He literally got with Lee Haney, put that manufactured weight strength on, and it just settled into him. He fought at like 215. I think the highest he fought might have been 223 or 225. But that was everybody knows Holyfield was a manufactured bodybuilding, specifically called out asked Lee Haney to help him. So we don't know what, and Crawford already, who was a former a wrestler, loves in his weights, deadlifting damn near 300 pounds. We don't know what his mind is thinking about if he were to put on that weight and to really, really get into weightlifting the same way that Holyfield did. So it has been done to jump up so many divisions and then that weight settle in and you're dealing with guys. So it's yet to be seen. And I still think that at 154, it's still enough out there to where, he's got to make some decisions. Do I go and just go ahead on and try to unify, or do I want to touch around a little bit more? So he got us. I hope he go ahead on and try to unify. Go ahead on and get lanky, Sebastian, or Fundora or whoever, and I know we'll get into what's possible next. But my point is this that I wanted to make to even my concerns about him moving up to 168, I think is still yet to be seen. My concerns are not more so about whether he can do it, because I've seen what weightlifting can do in some of my own fighters, and definitely, more so that example about Holyfield that nobody can dispute. My more so concerns is what he's thinking about, because you can say what you want to say. A professor hit it on the head. That joker said, man, that joker was strong as hell. Like that thing registered in Bud's mind. That thing, and Bud is one of the ones where I'm gonna call it like I see it. Now, in the back of his mind, it might be meaning, look, I got to get ready. I got to really be able to stand my ground with this stuff. But make no mistake about it, shit, he was strong as hell. So when you hit that 168, man, you better not go up in there half stepping with Canelo at no 168. You just better not. And I think he's realizing that, man. So what I'm hoping to see in terms of if he stays at 154, man, go ahead on and do what you can do to try to unify. Take nothing but fights with champions, man. Take nothing but fights with champions. And then I hope on the next one, his next outing, he do something that can. I think Fundora is perfectly made for him, bro. To be honest with you, that height, I think he's made for. I think he's made for Crawford. So that's my take on it, man. But let's see what he says after he's done thought about it, and if he comes out saying probably need to lift a little bit more weights, build up my legs a little bit more, and sit down a little bit more. But you done felt that power at 154. You done felt that trying to push it. You done felt it leaning on you. Think about what you got to do and keep on do it.
And I think when I first saw them, because I think Terrence might even be maybe like a half an inch taller or something. But when I first saw them standing there, I was like, Terrence looks like he might be a little bit bigger. But once they were in the ring and kind of moving around, and
when he rehydrated,
and you saw Idrimal's back, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, oh no, he's just solidly a bigger fighter. We're not going to get too technical into like bone density, but I think one of the things that was surprising is that I don't think that Terrence Crawford has ever kind of experienced a strength deficit in a fight. Even though people will like look at his frame, it's not overly muscular. It's actually almost kind of like a prototypical boxer frame and stuff like that. But he does lift weights, and but he does it in a very strategic way, that he doesn't necessarily bulk up. But he is a strong guy. Like Coach talking about his deadlifting and stuff like that. This guy likes to lift weights. He was a former wrestler, which means that he understands leverage, right? He understands how to kind of maneuver fighters. And there's a different strength when it comes to like wrestling. Like there's but I think that Crawford was a little bit taken aback by Madrimov's just kind of, this is a pretty athletic guy. He's not just a boxer or whatnot, but if you kind of like see his workouts and other things like that, he's also a very strong and athletic opponent. But with that said, so Boston Jerry, do you, because to me, right, Terrence Crawford is going to be turning 37 years old very soon. I'll find it out. But I'm assuming that he only has like 1 or 2 fights left on his ledger at this point. Like, where do you think that he should go?
I think he should try to unify with Fundora. I believe that, didn't we? I think we reported on this a week or 2 ago that after Spence fell out of negotiations, well, the Spence Fundora fight got canceled because whatever Spence's outside the ring issues or whatever. I believe that they're looking to start negotiating with Crawford like this week. So that's a good fight for him too. The Fundora fight. That's where he should go. Unfortunately, Virgil Ortiz is not in a position to fight for a belt. Yeah, because that is. Yeah, Virgil Ortiz is not in a position to fight for a belt. I wish boxing scene had updated there. Well, so Fundora is the 2-belt unified guy, right? But this is right. Fundora has that's right, because he got Tim Tszew's WBO, and he has a WBC of his own somehow, right? Yes, no.
I don't recall him being unified, but let me check.
Well, in either case, look, the short answer to your question is Sebastian Fundora is where he needs. Sebastian Fundora is where he needs to go next. And if I'm a decision maker or a check writer, I'm trying to get Jamel Charlo or the winner of Virgil Ortiz, Sergey Bokachuk, a shot.
Not gonna move the needle. That Charlo, like Cameron said,
I think the Virgil Ortiz fight would move the needle more than the Charlo fight will.
Wait, who? Hold on. Who we talking? Who?
Crawford.
I'm saying make Crawford fights Fundora, and then to set up an undisputed fight, you figure out a way to engineer either Jamel Charlo or Virgil Ortiz to having a belt.
Gotcha.
One of those, either Virgil Ortiz, Tim Tszyu, or Jamel Charlo needs to end up with that other belt to undispute with Terrence Crawford. That's what I'm saying. If I'm Turkey El Sheikh, That's what I'm
it'll
trying
be
to
Charlo.
engineer.
I think Charlo's starting to come back on. Like he's training again. He's back on social media, training again. He is the he was the unified champion at undisputed at 154. He never lost that. So that's the story right there. And so if he fights Fundora, grab those belts. That's 3. And then his final fight, like I agree with Cam that he only got like 2 more fights. That's why I disagree with Coach. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, I got a couple of points I want to get at.
About not Fundora? Why would he not fight Fundora?
No. I disagree with you talking about him hitting them weights to get up to 168. He only got 2 fights left. I honestly think he only got 2 fights left, and ain't nobody going to jump up, you know what I'm saying, get bulked up for 2 fights. So, and then what Cameron was saying about him dealing with the punches and dealing with the weights, and why he if y'all sit there and think about it, he fought southpaw because that's his natural position. And if you fighting somebody bigger, you trying to give your A game. So he hit harder in the southpaw stance and then in the traditional orthodox. So in my mind, if I'm better left-handed than right-handed, and this dude hitting me hard, I'm gonna stay left-handed and try to give him my best. He's trying to knock him out just like the dude trying to knock him out. So that's why I think he stayed southpaw most of that fight, because he hit harder southpaw, and he needed all that leverage to keep Buddy off of him.
Well, hold on. And then I would come back at that and say, bro, okay, going back to the whole holistic approach, that might have been it though. But another thing that came straight from the horse's mouth too, he might have stayed that way because, to be honest with you, he did say, yo, this dude totally didn't fight like what he looked like. So let's give some credit absolutely to Madrimov for not coming in like the majority of the folks thought, that lunging, that crazy side to side stuff, that bending over. Because if he did do that, then absolutely fighting that cat from a southpaw would have been more beneficial, and that uppercut would have landed even a whole lot better. So part of Crawford's stuff might not have been just, hey, it's my best stop, I'm giving you what I've got. It might have been like, this guy ain't getting me out, and just as much as I'm being frustrated about not getting him, maybe he'll get frustrated and revert back to that style of fighting, and I'm gonna catch his ass sure enough coming in. So I think all of it kind of went into play, man, in terms of why he might have stayed up. Me personally, I would say, look, switch up a little bit because your eye get dotted with that right hand.
The last point I wanted to tell y'all and talk about, like, I don't think Fundora is going to be an easy out. I'm like, traditionally with the strength of Bud Crawford, one of his things that people don't talk about is that fucker got reach. He has real long arms.
Yeah, 74-inch arms. Yeah,
he got 74. So he traditionally he had the reach on everybody he fought. He fight Fundora, he don't have that no more. So I haven't seen where he's like he has a shorter reach against somebody.
But when did you need
Postal? I think Postal
had his eyes shut, man.
Postal had
when do you need to reach against Fundora?
Who?
Yeah.
If you press him, let's be honest.
Fundora gives up his.
When do you need reach?
He do, but at the same time, he got long ass arms, man.
And we've seen him at times use that length, the same way we saw Madrimov.
That's the only time I've seen him use his that reach.
But he's still a young fighter though, so I'm sure his coach is telling him he got to use that length.
The same way we saw Madrimov make an adjustment. Madrimov, who, by the way, had actually 350 amateur fights, not the 80 something that we saw on BoxRec. So that's another thing. 350 amateur fights. You have multiple styles. You can adjust. So Fundora, not that same amateur pedigree, but it's tough to see Fundora trying to go in there and give Crawford the counter-punching opportunities that he likes to have, that likes to take advantage of. So Randy.
I think physically, I don't think Fundora is gonna have the strength of somebody who is a rock solid kind of build like Israel. And so, just for the record, I just want to chime in. So, Fundora is a unified champion at the WBC and WBO, and then the IBF champion is Bakram Zelayev.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is correct, Boston. I didn't realize he was a unified champion.
Yeah, yeah. And if you look at that IBF rankings, and I don't know, boxing scene hasn't updated this thing, but the number one and the number two positions are not currently occupied. So to me, that smells like Jermell Charlo, a perfect opportunity for Jermell Charlo to magically be placed as the number one.
Well, I don't think he
IBF.
even has to. Right now he's still listed as the ring champion out there, and it's like he's never lost his belts out there. He just went up and he's never lost his belts.
I mean, he's never lost his belts in the ring, but he's lost his belts. I mean, all these belts that he had, somebody else has got now. Like
I mean, that's what I mean. He's never lost.
He didn't lose.
Like he's never like nobody's got in the ring with him and taking one of his belts.
Right.
If Crawford get past Fundora and Charlo gets that other belt, Crawford is going to be in 2 fights. Crawford can be 4-time.
He can be. He's right. He's right.
That's the path for him.
That's the path. That's the path.
That should be that Canelo shit should be that Canelo shit needs to be stricken from that's yeah.
That just takes somebody got to get in Charlo's ear and be like, look, man, I need the 2021 Charlo. You know what I'm saying? Like the focus, get in the ring, stay out the bullshit, and then that's gonna be a payday for both of them.
It will.
That's a starting fight, right?
Maybe, but you could position Virgil Ortiz to fight Bakram Zelayev or whatnot, and then that'll be a pretty big. I mean, that'll be
he ain't even in the
IBF fight, huh?
He ain't even ranked in the IBF.
Virgil Ortiz, is it?
No, I don't see him, but that ain't nothing but a check.
Look. Hey, so even when Turkey Island Shake was saying, we don't get Canelo, we're gonna go with Virgil Ortiz. If I was Crawford, I'd say, look, man, if it ain't for a belt, I don't want to fight. Period. Yeah. If not for a belt, I don't want to fight. Give me either Fundora or any which way that he goes. Those individuals will take that money and take that fight. If it goes, if it goes Fundora and then Charlo gets the belt, it might take 2 fights to make close to what you might have made against Canelo. I don't know, man, but just get the 2 fights and get going.
But now, if
you fight Charlo is going to be just as easy, I think personally, as Spence was. Same fight.
I think so.
I don't know about that.
I think one of the advantages, not the advantage, but one of the kind of vantage points that he can take is that. So I think that as far as the best fighter of this generation is, it kind of comes down to like Charlo. I mean, not Charlo. It kind of comes down to Crawford and Canelo. But if Crawford can retire,
what best fighter of the generation?
Of their generation, who's better than them in their generation?
I mean, I would put. I think Usyk has accomplished more than Canelo has.
Maybe, but listen, if Crawford can retire as a undisputed champion in 3 different weight divisions, undefeated or whatnot, then I think that'll that's something that he can I don't want to hear about Canelo. I don't want to hear about all those other people. And then that's something that he can ride out on this horse into the sunset.
He can, but people like us are going to sit here. I mean, look, I think that Crawford has accomplished more, the same way Usyk and Inoue have accomplished more. But we got to look at the guys they fought. Now Usyk has got a nice little resume. It's not as acclaimed, and those names aren't as renowned as the names on Canelo's resume, but some of those guys are every bit as good, those guys that he beat. And having a Tyson Fury and an AJ on Usyk has but I'm with you, Cam. 3 times undisputed, that's rare air in the sport. That's rare air in the sport. And the guys who he would have beaten at 154 pounds to become 3-time undisputed I think will probably be better than all the guys he's beaten in all the other weight divisions he's been in, with the exception of maybe like you got this argument for Spence, which is maybe his best. Even though I'd pick Madrimov to beat Spence, any version of Spence.
Yeah.
And then even that version of Gamboa that he fought that was a primer, younger Gamboa than the one you saw fighting Devin Haney and Tank Davis and all the other guys. So, yeah, Triple Crown and some of these guys that he'll have to go through at 154. Yeah, it'll be an interesting discussion to have. It'll be an interesting discussion to have, looking at him and Canelo and anyway Usyk.
Yeah, it'll be there, but it'll be a strong resume if he can do that. If he can. All right, so we're gonna wrap up this and jump into our last segment for the night. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, sir.